Right then, I'm now here for my Zerdo Ramirez versus Chris Billam Smith fight predictions. Now, full card predictions now for you guys. And yeah, sorry I'm not the most upbeat in this video. Haven't really been feeling too great the past few days, but getting back to uploading. But yeah, let's get right onto it. First of all, with the first fight, Oscar Durate versus Beitir Akhmedov. I think it's a fight which Oscar Durate should probably show a different kind of level in, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think it's one that he should lose. I think he should show that he is miles above this guy, if I'm being completely honest with you. Yeah, it'll be disappointing if Oscar Durate loses this one. I think I've seen the odd person saying that it could be closer than what people think, but honestly, if I'm being completely real with this prediction, Oscar Durate should make pretty easy work of this. I think Oscar Durate will win the fight. I think he'll win every single round here. I think overall Oscar Durate is just going to prove to be too much. I think, he fights with good pressure. I really like his body work, Oscar Durate, and I think he picks his moments with his backhand really well. I think if the thing about Oscar Durate is, I think he can, try and set up his shots well behind his lead hand, but he doesn't use the jab. He sticks it out there and tries to measure the distance, but he doesn't really he doesn't really use the jab enough, in my opinion, to really be a top level guy. Against Ryan Garcia, I think, you arguably probably could have had him up in that fight before he got knocked out. But if he tried to stick behind the jab a bit more, he could have done a lot more in that fight, in my opinion, and in many other of his fights. I thought it was a good performance against Joseph Diaz last time out for him, though. But yeah, I think he wins this one, but he's not a top level guy, if we're being completely honest. But yeah, I think this is a fight that Oscar Durate should win and must win. Okay, next up we're going on to Oscar Collazo versus Trong. I think this again is another kind of one-sided one. I mean, Trong's like 25-0, but he's got a pretty padded record. He's beaten some people like 55 wins and stuff like that, with some decent winning records, but Trong has. But he hasn't fought at a high level whatsoever. That's the thing that's letting him down here. That's the thing that's letting him down. He hasn't fought at a high level. He's not really a big mainstream fighter. So there's not a load on the Trong either. I just don't think he's proven at the level that Oscar Collazo's proven himself at. And I think a big thing of how people could possibly beat Oscar Collazo is having power to really crack the chin, because Collazo's shown throughout his career so far, out of his 10 fights, he's got a bloody strong chin. He can take big shots to where he get to where he wants to be. And the Trong hasn't really got much power. You don't really see many knockouts in the Trong's game. So that's what's going to massively let him down here in this fight. And, he's not going to be able to keep Oscar Collazo off him. Oscar Collazo's a machine, to be honest. He picks his shots really well. I think he times his explosive moments nicely, and he can be shown to be unpredictable. He's unpredictable with his work. He can throw the odd wild shot, but I think overall he's clever. Oscar Collazo is clever with what he does offensively. Defensively, as I've been saying, basically, you can tell, there's areas to be worked on in his defense. And, he gets caught a lot flushed on the chin, but he's shown a great chin and that he's a very bloody tough guy. And the Trong's not a kind of guy who's proven to have power. He's not going to be able to gain respect to Oscar Collazo. He's not going to be able to get him out of there. And that's what you need to do to beat Oscar Collazo. You need to crack him right on the chin, keep him off you, gain his respect. The Trong's not going to be able to do that. So I'm going to be going with a Oscar Collazo win. He's got 7 knockouts out of his 10 wins. I'm going to be going with, I think Collazo break this guy down. I'm going to say I'll get him out of there in 5. Break him down 4. Get him out there in 5. That's what I'm going to say. But yeah, Oscar Collazo wins this comfortably. The Trong's a good all-round boxer, but he's not exactly a high-level guy. All right, next up we got William Zepeda back in action versus Tevin Farmer. Yeah, if I'm being real, I like Tevin Farmer, but his best days are probably, it's safe to say, behind him. He's not in his prime anymore. He can still bloody box well, of course. So Tevin Farmer, he can still box well and cause you problems. But again, a big thing about Farmer, it's similar to like what the issue that Trong's got with beating Kazo is that Farmer's not got power, and to beat Williams at Paddy, you need to crack him hard. And Tevin Farmer's, you're not going to see him do that. You're not going to be able to see Tevin Farmer crack Zepeda hard, and Zepeda's a ridiculously tough man. You're not going to hurt him. Like, Farmer's not going to hurt Zepeda. He can box well around him, but again, Zepeda's a absolute monster. You're not going to keep Zepeda off you for 12 rounds. That's the thing. Farmer, I don't think's world title level anymore. I think that's clear to see. His last fight didn't go too well for him against Musiala. But yeah, I think Zepeda is one of the best guys in the lightweight division right now. I mean, I think, again, to beat Zepeda, you need to be a big hitter and you need to gain his respect and you need to try and I just feel like you can't just be an all-round great, good technical boxer against him. You need to have big power as well. And as good as, Farmer is a boxer, he can make things a bit sluggish as well. And that's a little bit risky against coming up someone like William Zepeda. You don't want to, take those risks because he's got ridiculous power. And who knows how Farmer's going to be able to deal with that. And, Farmer's lost 6 times in his career at the top level. Like, he's been here before and he hasn't. And, at the end of the day, he's been beaten. He's been beaten. So, there's ways to beat him. It's already been shown. There's been no way shown to beat William Zepeda just yet. So I think William Zepeda gets this job done. I think he knocks out Tevin Farmer as well. I mean, Tevin Farmer can take some good shots, but I don't think he's going to be able to survive with William Zepeda for too long. I'm going to say round 7, actually, not round 6. I think Farmer could get a decent start here and, look promising behind the jab for a few rounds, but he's not going to keep Zepeda off him. Zepeda is always coming at you. He's got a brilliant cardio. He can keep up a good pace. And he puts his shots together really, really well. And Tevin Farmer's not going to be able to deal with someone like William Zepeda. He's in big trouble coming to this fight. So William Zepeda, round 7 knockout. Once Zepeda gets his combinations flying, it's not going to run well for Farmer. Okay, next up we've got Arnold Barboza Jr. versus Jose Ramirez. Who's actually going to win this? They both look awful in their last fight. Ramirez against Barthelemy, he looked absolutely shocking in that fight. I've always said Ramirez is overrated, though. Arnold Barboza Jr. should have lost to Mokob. I think that's how you say his name. I'm not very good with names. But yeah, with Sean Mokob, it wasn't a great performance from Arnold Barboza Jr. whatsoever. People say he probably lost that. He probably did. Was getting outlanded in the fight. It wasn't great, but usually though, Arnold Barboza Jr. is, he's a clever, he looks pretty clever in there. He's able to work angles pretty well, puts his shots together, got decent body attack, and can break you down pretty well with his skills. He's got way better boxing IQ than what Ramirez has. Ramirez, I think, is good at cutting off the ring, backing you up into a corner and letting his shots go. And Ramirez has got big, he's got good power to be able to gain your respect. But I don't see him beating Arnold Barboza Jr. I think Arnold Barboza Jr. is going to win. I actually don't know who the betting on favorite is for this one, but I'm going with Arnold Barboza Jr. I think he's going to be too smart for Jose Ramirez. I think Ramirez, I don't think he's, I just see him getting outsmarted and outworked. Barboza really, put some good combinations together. He's smart with it as well. He's got good defense. I just feel like Ramirez can be shown to be a bit too stiff at times. And I feel like against Arnold Barboza Jr., that's not going to go too well for you. So Ramirez is a tough guy. I'm going to go with Arnold Barboza Jr. on points. I think he's the smartest guy. I think he's the all-round better boxer. You never know. Ramirez could stun him at some point over the 12 rounds. But I think Barbosa Jr. is going to win the fight, but I mean, who's to say that both guys are possibly on the real decline now? But I think this fight against each other is going to tell us a lot about both of them, and I think it's a good fight that's been made, Barbosa Jr. and Jose Ramirez. I'm going with Barbosa Jr. Okay, and then we do get to our main event. We've got Zerda Ramirez versus Chris Billam Smith, the Englishman. Who am I actually going to go with here? I actually don't know. I'm going to go with Zerda Ramirez to beat Chris Billam Smith. Yeah, I'm going to go with Zerda Ramirez to beat Chris Billam Smith. Yeah, I am. I think the thing with Chris Billam Smith, he's a very sloppy fighter, but he's able to get the job done. And, I think his sloppiness isn't looked at enough. I mean, look at his performance against Masternak. Like, that was not a good watch at all. Him and Riatpour, I mean, people mostly just putting all the sluggishness onto Riatpour, but Billam Smith was sluggish in that fight as well. He didn't exactly look amazing. Lawrence Okoli, Billam Smith was good in that fight, but again, he's got sluggishness showed in him. Against Zerda Ramirez, I think he's coming for a great last performance. I think he worked angles well. I think Zerda Ramirez is very good at landing some very good sneaky shots in there. I think his uppercuts look really good. I think against Joe Smith Jr., at times he looked slow, but at times he looked good. I think he works the body really well. And, the angle changes when he works the body. He's very good. It's very clever. He's a very strong guy as well. I think Billam Smith's quite strong in the clinches as well. But I think Zerda Ramirez is a very strong guy. He's got a very good chin on him. I think it's going to be difficult for Billam Smith to gain his respect. I think Billam Smith has got power, but I think at the real proper elite level of the cruiserweight division, I don't really think it's going to show. It hasn't shown against. It didn't show against Riatpour. Okoli dropped him 3 times, couldn't get him out of there though. Masternak, the power is literally not non-existent in the fight, and we're only really talking about the higher level guys who Billam Smith's beaten, and that's the thing about him. He's not going to be able to get a tough guy like Zerda Ramirez out of there. But I think Zerdo's got good power, but again, I don't think he's got proper elite level power. I mean, he's got the power to gain your respect. That's same as Chris Billam Smith, but I think Zerdo's a tougher guy than what Billam Smith is. I think that I see this fight being pretty sluggish at times as well. I see there being a lot of clinching in this fight. Zerdo's going to want it pretty up close. Billam Smith's going to want it at mid-range, try and get the jab going and keep Zerdo off him. But I think Zerdo's, he bops his head quite well. Billam Smith has absolutely zero head movement. I think Zerda Ramirez wins the fight, and I'm going with a points. I'm going with a majority decision, no, unanimous decision, one of the two, not a split decision. It won't be that close. I think Zerda would get a decent win here, but it's going to be really sluggish and probably some rounds difficult to score. To be honest, it could actually be a split decision. To be fair, some rounds would be difficult to score. It's not going to be the greatest of fights to watch. I'm not going to lie, but I think Zerdo's going to do enough to be able to outwork Billam Smith. I think Billam Smith smothers his work a lot. I think he can. I just feel like he's sloppy at times, Billam Smith. I feel like he leaves openings at times when he throws. I feel like he can be countered at times. I think Zerdo's much smarter than what Billam Smith is, and that's going to play a big factor in winning the fight. So I'm going with Zerda Ramirez. I want Billam Smith to win, though, as an Englishman, of course, but Zerda Ramirez is going to win. But it's not going to be a great fight to watch. It's definitely going the distance as well. Zerda Ramirez, I think, will hurt Billam Smith at some point in the fight. I don't see Billam Smith really hurting Zerdo and causing him a load of problems hurting him. But there we go. That's my prediction for the fight. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, Chaos. I'll speak to you on the next one.